voices thrive. Turn on your screens, let the magic unfold. Listening and healing as stories are told. Come on, come on, this is your time. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. In a circle podcast where hearts unite. Sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone. Together as one, we've created a home. With laughter and love, we break down the walls. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. So join the conversation, let's set the tone. In a circle podcast where love is well known.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another powerful episode of the Inner Circle Podcast. Today is July 1st. July 1st, man, July 1st. July is a very, very special month in this country. I'm your host, Abe Kamara, and I want to welcome you to this edition. Tonight, our topic is Freedom Stories. What does America means to you? What America means to you as an immigrant? When you first came here, before you came here, before you immigrated here. What does America mean to you? I'm joined by my man, Peterson from the windy city of Chicago. Peterson, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. Good evening, and everybody. This is Peterson from Shy, where some days it's Chirac, some days it's Shy Cool. But I've been gone for a couple of weeks because summer activities for the kids. But and sorry for the noise in the background. I'm outdoors today, but yeah, this is a great topic, and it's just timely, as we always do on this podcast. We bring timely discussions and things that will amplify not just the voice in general, but the immigrant voice especially. So, welcome to the show, and let's have a good conversation.
Okay, definitely, definitely. As Peterson said, man, July 4th is this Friday, and with July 4th around the corner, we are pausing to reflect, to remember, to remember and to honor what freedom truly means, especially through the eyes of immigrants. So again, right, and then another powerful man have joined us tonight. Titus, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Evan. What's up, Peterson? Been a while, bro.
Yeah, it's been a couple of minutes.
Yep.
Okay. So tonight, folks, we are not just talking about fireworks or flag waving, right? We are diving deep into stories about, three of us here. And then as the audience, if you want to join the conversation, right, what does America mean to you? You can contribute to the conversation by putting a comment in the chat by calling our number 817-600-1525. Well, Peterson, what does America means to you? So immigrant in Chicago there when you first came here. So first of all, how I want to start, right? When you were there, right? Like the notion of America. What did America mean to you then? And what does it mean to you now in 2025?
Yeah, so before we came to the States, of course, everybody they say you don't know what it is, the whole story. You don't see the big picture until you actually land here. But all we kept hearing about, oh, we're going to the cold, and this and that. But you don't take into consideration all of the history that's behind this land. And when we landed here in Chicago, which I've been now for the past 30 years or so, it it was a shock
Hmm.
because you hear about everything like, oh, America, 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 and all the history that we learned back home, especially coming from Liberia with the connection that we have. to or that Liberia has to this
Mhm. Yeah,
nation,
yeah.
when you hear about it, like, okay, it's like when they talk about this hill, a house on the, like on the hill type of
Yeah,
thing, where
yeah.
people are running and then they see that one light, or they see that house, like, oh, okay, let's try to get up there. That's kind of like the feeling when you think about coming to America. And
Mhm,
then when you get here, uh, in like every state, every big city, there are things that you're like, wait, this is America. But then the just the stories and having that freedom. Like, what does freedom really mean? Is
mhm,
it
mhm.
like freedom for everybody, or just the privileged few, or like what it is? And we
Yeah.
can dive more into that later.
Okay. Well, I mean, I mean, that's a good one right there. Well, Titus, come to you with the same question. When you were back there, what did America mean to you? When you came, what did it mean? What did it mean to you when you first came here? What does it mean to you now in 2025?
So thank you. I think this is a really good topic, and hopefully a lot of our audience will participate tonight. But when we're back home, as my bro was saying, America is so good at media control and publicity. If not the best, it's one of the best countries that you know that has perfected the art of media.
Mm,
And so it projects and portrays this image to the world. Yeah, this is a place of silver and gold and
mm-hmm,
great opportunities, and it does have opportunities. But when you get here, you start to learn the inner workings
mm-hmm,
of what freedom really is,
mm-hmm,
or what it means in
mm-hmm,
America. And
mm-hmm.
even though it might be a subjective thing, for a person, just the overall image that America gives to the world, land of the free, home of the brave. From outside, you view it differently. So
Yeah,
when we're back home in Liberia,
yeah,
it's easy life, and everything is silver and gold. It's the beautiful scenery that you see in the music
yeah,
videos, the
yeah,
movies, the
yeah,
food and all that stuff. That's
yeah,
what it looks like. The grid system,
yeah,
education, everything is free.
yeah,
Then we learn differently when we come here.
yeah. Definitely. I think I echo what the two of you are saying, right? When I was in Liberia in the mid 90s coming here, the first, what I mean, is like, as a little kid, right? It's like, almost about to be a teenager. I wasn't, when I even thinking about come here, but I used to refer to myself as an American, right? Because the way I used to, what I mean, and stuff, I used to refer to myself as an American. And then this one Chuck Norris movie, I don't remember the name of the movie. I will find it. But then there's a line in that Chuck Norris said, when they call you an American, it's that brave, strong, and intelligent.
Intelligent.
Yeah, what I mean? That line, so it's like
Yeah,
when my family and I finally, when we were coming here, it was gosh, everyone kind of like folks are worshiping you, right? The way you see America, right? Folks say, oh gosh, your life is gonna be so easy. They even know they start referring to you as an American. So every time someone comes in an American and say brave, strong, and intelligent, you know what I mean? That line have always stuck with me. And then the other thing is, right, I like you see it through the lens of movies, right? I never thought you have forest, you have bush, have stuff like that, right? These skyscrapers, right? And then for us, like we
yeah,
landed in New York, right? So like when I first landed in New York, I saw, oh God, I said, what? This is America I anticipated. I went to Manhattan, you know what I mean, and things like that. I said, oh, but damn. And then guess what? We took the Greyhound train from New York to Minnesota. That's where I said, but damn, the Peterson to your point. I said, but damn, is this America? What the hell? What the hell is this?
yeah,
Yeah, stuff like that. So that kind of hit home a little bit. I said, oh, whoa, what I mean? Because the perception, everything, I mean, imagine though, right? It's like I did not bring, my parents, friends, my folks were bringing clothes. Other folks were like packing clothes, African clothes. I would tell you folks, I don't need anything.
yeah.
What I mean? I'm just going to come when I come. Everything's going to be available,
You
right?
got everything. Yep.
Yeah, it's everything is gonna be available. So it's like that's the kind of a vivid memory I still have. And then when you come, bro, that the reality hits you. So whoa, you know, if you are unique, if you're familiar with Minnesota, I know everyone have gone to a thrift store. The first place we want to shop in is a thrift store. You are so happy we're going to a thrift store, but it's like, okay, wait, what is it? What am I doing here? You know what I mean? And things like that. But that's my, I mean, but that's my kind of my story, right? The perception when I had, and the reality, that hit me when I mean, when I got here. What it means to me today is so different once you start growing up with, having kids and all those, I mean, all of those things. So the reality versus the dream, Peterson. The reality versus the dream. How does that compare to you?
Yeah, it's completely different. Like Tyler said, it's like when you think of America, it's like this huge PR engine that is just they put all the positive, like you're saying. When you watch movies back home, you would never see like the jungles or the
Hmm.
Appalachian like
Hmm.
forests and all these
Hmm.
mountains. You would never see it. You would see
Hmm.
even if it's a war show as we call it, it would be like urban warfare where it's in the cities and things like that. So the reality versus the the dream is completely different, and this is some of the things that's giving some of our brothers and sisters back home a hard time because they see this I want to say like fake life. They see this social
Hmm.
media life and they think
Hmm.
like, oh yeah, that's America, that's America. I can't wait till I go there. And then when sometimes you tell people, if somebody asks you for something and you say, oh, I don't have it right now, you just think like, man, you just say you don't want to give it to me or you don't want to do it because you're lying. America, like money grows on trees. You guys can
Hmm.
just go from anywhere, type of thing. So the dream is completely different, and the reality of life here is completely different. And like Tada said, some of those things are true, like the healthcare, the freedom to basically do whatever you want as far as opportunities, but it comes at a cost because
Hmm. Hmm.
not just
Hmm.
like free to do anything.
So do you think that, like the social media, I know we have talked about social media a lot on this platform, but do you think social media has amplified the perception of America in a way where in like in a so-called fake life way, right? Is that, do you think
Yes,
do you think social media has amplified that? Have taken it to a whole different level? Is that what you're trying to say?
yeah, it kind of
Uh-huh.
twists that a little bit because
Uh-huh.
some people who are even like struggling, they will go and use these like filters, or they will do something so that they can put this life out there for other people to see. And then
Hmm.
when people hear from back home, how
Hmm.
can you like tell somebody like, oh, I'm struggling, or I have to do 9 to 5 before I can do all this when they turn on their social media, whatever platform it is, all they see is you driving like some new car or going to some expensive store and things like that. So social media has just amplified it. It's not like it wasn't there before. It
Yeah.
was, but people didn't have access to see it like immediately. Because before, like when we came here back in the day, you would have to take pictures and
Yeah.
send it back home before people
Mhm.
would actually see it. But now it's like
Yeah.
instantaneous; they see it right away.
Yeah, obviously, right. The one thing for me, right, when someone come here today in the first 3 months or 6 months, when they post picture, right, is that because certain places in this country is easier to get a job, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But once getting a job does not mean like everything has what has has become so easy, or your life is another level. But that the first picture they start putting or posting, they start posting on Facebook videos and things like that. Other folks say, oh wow, in 3 to 6 months, their life have already transformed. Tatas, what's your take on that? What do you think social media has done to the psyche of those back home who are trying to join us, who are trying to join us here? What I mean, what does America mean to them in the age of social media?
But I'll beg to backtrack a bit because you're talking
Hmm.
about, jobs. For
Hmm.
some
Hmm.
immigrants in this country, that's pretty far-fetched.
Mm, okay,
Um,
okay, okay.
Again, as it is portrayed, the land of opportunity. Some
Yeah.
folks just really want to get here, right?
Okay,
And as
okay.
soon as that's the dream. As soon as I
Hmm.
get there, everything's gonna be okay. I'm
Hmm.
I'm gonna get a job right away. There will
Hmm.
be a
Hmm.
way as long as. But do you know how many immigrants and for how long have been here and are still struggling to even attain a job?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Doing
Hmm.
even odd jobs, under the table jobs.
Yeah.
Where is that freedom that America offers to the world. That come here. This is a great land of milk and honey. And now to make things worse,
Mm-hmm.
while you're struggling to attain, this status or attain this job,
Mm-hmm.
man, they're sending you back. They're deporting you.
Mm,
Whether
mm-hmm.
you've been in a violent behavior here or not, I know they say, oh yeah, we're only deporting. But listen, when your documentation come across ICE,
Mm-hmm.
whether you've been involved with violence or not, you're going back. Matter of
Okay.
fact, even they're even extending this thing to the place where folks with permanent status are getting sent
Okay.
back. So
Okay.
Abe, I know you're talking about you're going already with the job and how people are on using the social media now, because you could be anything on social media, but I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted us to kind of
Yeah.
reflect on the fact, the reality that other people are facing, that the job at Tina, a job here is so far fetched. But yes,
Okay.
I do agree that social media plays such a role in this whole picture that America portrays to the world. And for folks who just like to be whatever the one, whether it's an illusion or that dream to
Mm-hmm.
project to other people, they could use social media to just give them a life that's not a reality. On the
Yeah.
contract, though, on the
Yeah.
contract, compared to back in the days like the
Yeah.
80s or what have you, where folks only relied on maybe phone calls or the
Yeah.
movies, there are
Mm-hmm.
other realities too that can also be reflected through the social media. So is a two-edged sword, but I
Okay.
think the fake and the facade is
Mm-hmm.
mostly dominated there on social media.
Okay. Well, folks, tonight we are discussing freedom stories. What does America mean to you? Each of us say, what does America mean to us? What does America mean to you when you were back home, when you came here? And what does America mean to you today? As Status just said, in the age of immigration crackdowns or immigrant, what does it mean to you? What does freedom mean to you? What does this country mean to you? It's a week, it is July 4th week. July 4th is this Friday, where America celebrates its independence. So tonight is a timely topic. What does America mean to you, folks? So you can contribute to the conversation by putting a comment in the chat or calling our number 817-600-1525. Peterson, has your idea of America evolved, right? Is like, since you came here, the idea of America, with time, has it evolved? The way you look at America back then, as you have lived your life over 30 years in this country, has your idea of America evolved? How do you look at it today? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Sorry, there was some background noise here, but yeah, it definitely has, because when we came back then, things were completely different, especially like this 2025 that we're in,
Yeah.
and we talk about immigration crackdowns and things. Nobody back then when we came would have thought that uh, uh, people's citizenship or their status would be under threat,
Mm-hmm.
even if you're not a criminal or if you didn't come here illegally. We're talking about people who came legally
Mm-hmm.
that now they are all on the board as far as whether you can get deported or not, or you
Mm-hmm.
can go into the immigration system. So
Mm-hmm.
things have changed. Is evolved completely. Like 20, 30 years ago, nobody would have ever thought that whatever is going on now was even possible. So, yes, my idea of America has evolved, and now is giving people caution as far as, okay, do I really want to go to America if this is what America is all about? Because now the idea of America is changing. Like we said, is instead of it being the land of the free and the brave, now it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, the land of, do you have money to to come to this country?
Yeah.
Do you have money already? So instead of coming with that dream, like, oh, I'm going to go and make life for myself and get a job, get educated and get a job. Now you have to think about it, like, okay, well, if I'm opportune to actually get there, would I have the job? would there be a job that would be able to support me? Would I be able to go into a school of my choice and get education? Because now that they're talking about, oh, we don't want certain people coming to certain
Hmm.
universities and things like
Hmm.
that. So
Yeah,
now the whole idea of America is changing. It's
yeah.
evolved.
No, no, no. That, I mean, that's a great point, right? Is that the whole nativist idea that is creeping into the ideal of America, right? Is like, certain folks feel, oh, and, in 2025, it's scary for a lot of people, right? Just recently, right, the Supreme Court had a ruling, not like outlawing birthright citizenship, right? But they allowed the administration to say, hey, if you issue I mean your emergency order, what I mean, cannot be struck down but just by a lower court, right? I mean, they cannot issue that, I mean, that injunction. But the fact is, even with I mean, the fact that you brought that up, Peterson, right? Even birthright citizenship seems to be under attack, right? Legal means of coming to this country seems to be under attack in 2025 as we are about to celebrate July 4th. you know how do you think, ordinary Americans, let's assume those who feel like this country belongs to them, how do you think they are processing that way in, like, the whole idea of even the July 4th, right? It seems to be, to me as an immigrant, I mean, talking here, it seems to be under attack. Titus, how do you think ordinary, I mean, those who feel like this country belongs to them, how can they, I mean, how can they kind of square that?
So let's not get carried away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
These laws and these actions right now that are affecting and impacting the community, the immigrant
Mm-hmm.
community. These
Mm-hmm.
were messages that Trump campaigned on.
Yeah. Yeah.
These were his
Mm-hmm.
these were his campaign messages. So
Mm-hmm.
if you ask me, I'll really tell you that a majority of the common American really
Mm-hmm.
do support this ideology of everything that's going on with the immigrant community. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's probably a mixed feeling there, but I think majority of them are they really endorse and approve this entire ideology that he's pushing. Trump
Mm-hmm.
says a lot of what much of what majority of Americans, the common American,
Mm-hmm.
is thinking. They
Mm-hmm.
support it. They
Mm-hmm.
like this. They're
Mm-hmm.
emboldened. When he's in authority, I mean, you can feel it's a different aura in the air
Mhm,
when you interact with the common American, honestly,
mhm,
compared to when there are other administration or other leaders. So I think they're fine. I think most of them are fine. I think they're enjoying this. They feel like this country belongs to them. A lot of them do not understand they're immigrants as well. They don't. They do know that this country was built on the backs of immigrants, the blood,
mhm,
sweat, and tears of immigrants, free
mhm,
labor.
mhm,
Yet, because of our the difference in our appearance, they are emboldened and they feel privileged with these type of messages that yes, this country belonged to the Europeans and not
mm.
people of other descent. So yes, I think there's a lot of celebration coming up, and these folks are having a field day with what is going on.
Okay. Do you think though, right, as July 4th approach, and I mean Friday is July 4th, as an immigrant community, should we be celebrating July 4th enthusiastically as we, what I mean, with, it's like, it might seem, as you mentioned earlier, right? It might seem like only certain folks have been affected, but to me, the entire immigrant community, whether you're from Mexico, whether you're from South America, whether you're from Africa, I think when one group of people or certain group of people are under attack, I think the entire immigrant community is I mean is under attack. So Peterson, how do you think the immigrant community should celebrate July 4th, 2025? How should we celebrate this July 4th? Should we be so enthusiastic, embracing this country that it is our country too? As Status said, doesn't just belong to the Europeans, to the white Europeans because they are black Europeans or whatever, what I mean, and things like that. But how should we celebrate July 4th this year, 2025?
Yeah, I don't know if we want to call it a celebration, but if you do celebrate at your own peril, at your own, because uh, now if immigrant communities they go out and they act as if to be oblivious to whatever is going on, like, oh yeah, we know this is happening, but it's not happening to me or to my community. Well, I caution you because now you bring in you kind of like shining the light on to yourself, even
Mhm,
if your community or your group of people were maybe left on the sidelines. Now you're going to bring focus because there's nobody that is out of bounds when it comes
mhm,
to this immigration stuff. Like
mhm.
we said, first it was preaching like, oh yeah, it's only going to be violent criminals, but then they started to add a little bit to it. Oh, okay, now the violent criminals, everybody else who's been here illegally. Oh, okay, everybody else who who are naturalized and your children
Yeah,
and everything. So
I saw
now
that today. That's crazy.
if you want to celebrate, know what you're celebrating because that's not how you celebrate freedom. You celebrate freedom when you think like, okay, everybody is free, everybody have the opportunity to move ahead, then you can celebrate that.
I think the highlight of the week for me as we approach July 4th, I mean, it's like Elon Musk is one of us, right? When the president said, as he said, Peter, to your point, right? He said, Peter,
Nobody's safe.
yeah, I mean, Elon Musk is a naturalized citizen, but the president is saying that, he could get deported. Okay, well, make that make sense to me. The dude is a naturalized citizen. He hasn't committed any crime. He has the right, right? That's what he has the right to criticize certain things that he does not like, right? There's this so-called big, beautiful bill, that is making its way through Congress, and Elon Musk doesn't
You're
like it.
sounding like Trump. This big, beautiful bill.
Elon Musk doesn't like it. He criticized it, and then now, the man came by and say Elon Musk should be careful, or he could get deported to, I mean, to South Africa or whatever. I said the man is one of us. I'm proud to, say, hey, he's coming from the same continent I'm coming from, even though here now at a whole different level. But the fact that even right, I mean, the president of the United States, July 4th weekend can even go there, right? What does that say to like ordinary immigrant like us, Titus? What does that say to us? That you could go there to the richest man in the world with so much power and influence that actually the president could even throw that job out there
That's
to me.
so funny.
Yeah, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. What do you make of that?
No, in actuality, if it tells
Mm.
you that no one is off limits.
Okay.
This is a
Okay.
man that worked as close as anybody could be, other
Mm-hmm.
than the
Mm-hmm.
president's wife, with the
Mm-hmm.
president.
Mm-hmm.
You know, very, very tight knit partner with him.
Mm-hmm.
No one is off limit. And when Trump says stuff like that, all I think about is, the parable that goes when a blind man say he would trunk you, he already got rocky in him.
Mm-hmm.
We looking from the outside, yeah, Muz, he ain't doing anything, he ain't commit no crimes. But these boys, man, they they hold stuff over people, man. They hold stuff
Mm-hmm.
over people all the time. And when
Okay.
they're ready to get you, they find all type of different means to get you, bro.
Mm.
There are
Okay.
things that be going on in the upper echelon that we have no idea about. And who
Mm-hmm.
knows I know Trump just be talking loosely also, but the society, bro, the way I've seen these folks operate,
Mm-hmm.
if they really want to get you and pin you down, they
Mm-hmm.
have so many different tactics in their books,
Mm-hmm.
so many different pages they could use.
Yeah.
But I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't extend that far. I hope it's just one of the the loose talks that Trump, when he gets hyped, come along and just say stuff. I hope it's just one of those things because it looks horrible.
Okay.
An immigrant of that status.
Yeah.
So who else is safe here?
Okay. Okay. Folks, tonight we are discussing freedom stories. What does America mean to us? What does America mean to you? You can contribute to the conversation by calling our number 817-600-1525. What does America mean to you when you are in wherever you came from Ghana, from Nigeria, from South America, from Brazil, from Europe? What did America mean to you and what does America mean to you now? So it's July 4th week. That's what we are discussing freedom. Fireworks are going to be all over. Barbecue is going to be all over. First of all, let me ask each of you. Peterson, what's your favorite July 4th food? Do you like the hamburger? Do you like the hamburger
I
or
don't
the
have a I don't have a favorite food. I don't really like burgers like that. I do
Oh,
like
you don't?
I do like grilled chicken,
Oh, but do you
but
throw, do
I'm
you
not.
guys throw something? Do you guys throw something on the grill? Do you guys do something on
Yeah,
the grill?
yeah. We usually throw some on the grill, but we do fish, chicken, and of course like hamburgers for the kids. But for me, I'm not too big on burgers.
Okay. Titus, what's your favorite July if you are into the whole July 4th celebration or whatever the fireworks, if you're excited about it? What's
I
your
really,
favorite July 4th
I really,
do you like hamburger or you go the African tradition where we're in the meat, the
yeah, no,
kebab,
no. Usually,
or
usually
the
when
ribs
we
or whatever?
usually when we're out, is just is really the on those days is really the kids, that be enjoying
Hmm.
themselves. We just
Hmm.
do it for the kids, the excitement that they get, the
Hmm.
fireworks and the stuff that they
Hmm.
be eating. But when
Hmm.
we're eating, it's really the African way,
Hmm.
grilling and stuff like that.
Okay.
Most of the time we're chilling in the crib, in the yard. Then maybe take them to go see fireworks,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Definitely. I know fireworks, right? We from a war-torn country, right? Fireworks sometimes, can be can be strange to us. Peter, do you take your family to see fireworks? I know sometimes, but the one thing though, the one thing, fireworks be happening all year, sometimes all the time. But do you take your family to watch
Oh yeah.
fireworks?
Yes, yes. I take my family to do fireworks, and
Mhm.
I actually used to put on fireworks when fireworks was legal here in Illinois when they used to
Okay.
sell it. But
Okay.
now you have to go out of the state. And yeah,
Wow.
talking about coming from a war war zone, I did
Yeah.
fireworks show one time, and it was in Indiana, my sister's house, and the whole block, everybody would take it cover like run.
Man, Peterson, you really be going for those ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Titus, so for me, I still believe, right? And before I throw this out there, I still believe with everything going on, America is still the land of opportunity, with all the rhetoric, with all the negativity, with all the attack, the rhetoric against immigrants. I still feel it's still the land of opportunity for immigrants. It's still the land of opportunity for folks that come here. But do you think many immigrants, as we are about to celebrate July 4th, do you think many immigrants feel that way? Or how do you feel?
No, with everything that goes on, it
Mm-hmm.
is still the land of opportunity. And
Mm-hmm.
for some, don't forget it. For some immigrants, we come from where bullets are flying.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
even
Mm-hmm.
up to now, in parts of where we're from, is bullets
Hmm.
flying.
Yeah.
Unending bullets. So
Mm-hmm.
just being away for that for most immigrants, that's freedom all by itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then also if you try to compare the justice system,
Yeah.
in as much as the system here is not as creme de la creme as we wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
There's a far comparison with the justice system here compared to a lot of other African or immigrant areas where
Mm-hmm.
we come from, right? So
Mm-hmm.
all of these different things, they are freedom to a lot of us. Opportunities are here. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
can come here and deny it. And I say this all the time. This place gives you the opportunity to become the worst person possible or the best person possible. It's up to you.
Okay. Okay.
It's your
Okay.
choice. See
Okay.
the opportunity, seize it, work hard towards it, and hopefully make best of the situation.
Okay.
Well, that's what we should do
Peterson.
as immigrants wherever we find ourselves.
Okay. One of the things though, right? I think, with everything going on, before I come to the next line here, right? With everything going on, I think, as I said, the reason why I've said this many times on this platform, the reason why I feel and we said it yesterday, but you have so many great immigrants, right, that are making enormous contribution, immense contribution to this country. But the fact is, we are not out there. Even these guys that I've seen that are so successful, they are not coming back to the immigrant community, as we said here last night, Miss B and I, they are not coming back to the immigrant community to help. Right, you know what I mean. You have folks like that Brian James going back to Cleveland to help his folks. You don't have these guys coming back to the immigrant community to help. But how can we make sure that we stay connected to our culture while celebrating American freedoms? Peterson, how can we make sure we do that? All of us. Wherever you find yourself, how can we make sure that we do that?
Yeah, but I think what we can do is instead of saying like, okay, well, I'm in America, so I'm gonna do as the Americans do, or when in Rome, do as the Romans. We have to maintain our cultural identity wherever you're from, whatever your cultural traditions are. We need to make sure that we maintain those, and then we pass them down to our kids, so that even though a lot of them are born here, but that they will still have that sense of history to say, okay, well, this is where my parents are from, so that we can keep a close knit community. Because a lot of immigrant communities, it doesn't matter where you come from, we are together. But then once we get here, it's like people just segregate, and people go about their separate ways, and they settle, and then we see all this segregation among the immigrant community. So we need to make sure that we come together and celebrate in our own way.
How do you think that would collide with assimilation though, right? America is big on assimilation. I think, I don't want to, I'm going to throw this out there. A lot of folks might have problem with it. I'm not trying to be racist or be against anybody, right? But like the Mexicans come here, or folks from South America, right? Some of them like the issue of assimilation, right? They want to keep everything. They speak Spanish in their various homes and stuff like that. Typical American seems to have, you will go somewhere and someone telling you speak English, right? Is that it seems to have problem with that. If you try to maintain those culture, right? Try to maintain your tradition, your culture. How do you think that's going to collide with the whole thing of assimilation, right? They want you to assimilate. They want you to become an American.
Of course, when I say like maintain your cultural identity, it doesn't mean that you should have like only Indian stores, Indian schools, Indian hospitals, everything. So I'm saying like you those core values
Yeah.
from your culture, you should maintain
Okay.
those,
Okay.
and then you can take on some, because what is the American identity? American identity is, that's what they call the melting pot, because there's no like one single person or
Yep.
single ethnic group or religion that you can say, oh, okay, this one is American. So that's what makes it the melting pot. America is the only country that you can come to that it doesn't matter what language you speak, it doesn't matter where you come from, you will find somebody like that relates to you.
So, Tyler, does America means giving up something or adding something? What do you think? I have my own thought on it, but does America mean
Wow.
adding something or giving up something?
Wow. That's a good question. I think it's both. I think
Okay,
it's both.
okay,
I
okay.
think you give to get, you adjust, you assimilate. But and I do want to support what Peterson said, that
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
assimilation doesn't mean, giving out completely
mm-hmm,
where you're
mm-hmm,
from, who you are, or your culture, in order to blend in with other folks.
mm-hmm,
Black people are the only people that don't have their own in all parts of the world, right?
mm-hmm,
We don't have, like, when you see America, you go anywhere in America right now,
mm-hmm.
the Chinese have a community.
Yeah.
They have China Mall,
You have Chinatown,
China
Chinatown, yeah,
schools,
Chinatown, yeah, Chinatown,
Chinatown.
yeah.
There are hospitals, and not to be a segregationist, where they are catering to their people, where their people feel comfortable going to. There are banks. Doesn't mean that other people cannot go there. But this is the issue with us. We want to assimilate so much that we lose our own identity, and we do not have strength in our unity. We must pay attention to us first, the
Mm,
black nation first, empower that. And I
mm,
mean, there'll always be room to welcome other culture in.
yeah. I mean, I'm
But
glad that you brought it. Yeah, I'm
we just
glad
be
that you brought the
focusing
issue
on
of
being with these people, and I really
I'm
get
glad that you
stuck.
brought the issue. I'm glad that you brought the issue of the Chinatown, things like that, right? But even in Minnesota here, right? There's a Somali mall, right? They have these guys, and I think we discussed. Someone brought it on this platform one time. You were Miss B or
Hmm.
someone that there's this Islamic banking, right? There's now that is taking hold in Minnesota, right? The
Wow.
Somalians are, wherein they can go because as a Muslim, apparently you don't. like you don't pay interest. So it's like because of the Somalian community, that big banks are
Wow, that's
buying into those
amazing.
ideas of Islamic banking. So obviously, to your point, right? I mean, like, I mean, if you're in Minnesota here, if you local to Minnesota, you can go to the Somalian mall. Folks that have been there, right, is uniquely Somalian, right? They
Yep.
identify with that. When you go there, there's everything, anything you need, and it has become a tourist attraction actually, right? It has become a tourist attraction when folks come from out of state. You go to the Somalian mall, you might get a fake tattoo, or
Mm-hmm.
something,
Yep.
what I mean, and things like that, right? So it has
They
become a
bring
tourist
that culture
attraction.
here. Yeah.
Yeah. So to your point, though, it is just certain community, especially from West Africa, that we assimilate so much that we forget, right? It's like I'm
You still gotta
like
call Liberian here.
no, dude, there's not only Liberian though. How many places have you gone in this country to see just a Nigerian settlement? You haven't seen. I mean, Nigerians are like Houston. Peterson, I could be wrong. I mean, maybe you've been here longer than I, but I want you to tell me. Besides the Chinatown, besides what we have here,
Smiling
the
more.
Hispanic do the same thing though, right? You go certain
They
places,
do.
it's all Hispanics. I mean, even in
Yeah,
Chicago, Southside Chicago, it's a whole Hispanic community, right? It's like,
yeah, the southwest side. We call
yeah,
it Little
yeah,
Mexico. I mean,
exactly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah. So
yep,
We're
it's
the
only the
only
West,
people.
yeah, West
yeah.
Africans. But I want you to tell me, are there any other West African community where you go say, oh yeah, this is
Nope.
uniquely West African?
No, not even here in Chicago. Chicago, that is one of the most segregated cities in the U.S.
Hmm.
because we have
Wow.
Jewish town, we have Ukrainian village, we have like different places, like you
Yeah,
said.
yeah.
But when it comes to like the African immigrant population, we are
Hmm.
scattered all over the place. There's not one place that would be like, okay, these people they are kind of congregate here because they all have the same like cultural background or something like that. Or even if it's not just West Africans, so say, oh, Liberians, we are all
Hmm.
together, or
Hmm.
Ivorians. No, it's not like that. So yeah, to your point, when it comes to like the black or West Africans, because like you said, the Somalians, they are breaking that status quo and they are coming together. But when it comes to other African immigrant populations, we don't like to come together. It's like we are all together back home, but then once we leave, it's like, okay, you go here, I'll go there.
Yeah.
I think one thing we'll try to do here, right? A lot of things we'll be promising on this platform, and the one promise tonight, we're gonna urge a set of Broken Park, right? Every Liberian, no matter where you are in the world, when you call Broken Park, they say, "Oh, that's a Liberian place. I play Liberian play. Follow that play, Liberian follow that play." So tonight, we'll petition the city of Broken Park, Mayor Willen Houston. You know what I mean? That place should be called Little Liberia. How's that? Because
Absolutely. Matter of fact,
everywhere you go around the
matter of
world,
fact, Liberians outside
when you
of
say
America do say that.
everywhere you go, right?
Yeah.
As soon as you're from Minnesota, they say, "Oh, Broken Park."
Instead
They
of
say, "Oh,
Liberia,
okay,
America there. Yeah.
yeah." Is
Yeah.
it? But dude, how will you get associated with Broken Park right away? Where are you from? Minnesota. Oh, Broken Park. That's your
Yeah.
first place. So we're gonna tell instead of Broken Park to name that place Little Liberia. What do you think, Charles? You in Minnesota here? What do you think?
I think that's a very good idea. Brooklyn Park must have the largest concentration of Liberians in the
Yeah.
United States. In the
Okay.
United States, I believe so. If my stats,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
my stats are not off. So yeah, let's
Mm-hmm.
let's push for it. Liberians have a home here. They have a home in Minnesota, and it is Brooklyn Park. That's where a lot of Liberians are. It's a beautiful city. It has different images outside, but once you come in, once people visit Brooklyn Park, they feel at home, and it's like what, all of the different messages, the different news I heard about this place. This place is not even close to it. It's cool here. It's safe. The folks are vibing. Liberians are together. They are networking. We just need to connect. We just need to be more intentional about our network and,
Mm-hmm.
be, make it useful, more powerful like the other immigrants because we do have the numbers. We do
Okay.
have the
So
numbers, you know.
as of tonight on the Inner Circle platform, we refer to Broken Park as Little Liberia. That's where
Let's go.
That's right. That's right. But Peterson, though, right, is one of the issue immigrants are facing right now in this country, right? I think, like, during the campaign, I don't know whether it was in Ohio or somewhere, they said the Asian were eating dogs or something or whatever they were doing. What do you say to typical of American, to American who say, or to those who say immigrants don't assimilate enough? Now, I know you brought the issue of, what do you say to them that immigrants don't assimilate enough? Everything we try to do to fit in. What do you say to them that immigrants don't assimilate enough?
No, I think it has to do with this what we're always talking about, like the minority field drowning out
Mm,
the past.
mm,
There's like this negative narrative when it comes to immigrants. Like,
mm,
okay, they're they are not educated, they are savages, they are this, they are that, and it's all because of what is being put out there. And this is why a platform like Inner Circle Podcast, like this is a great idea because now we bring the positivity out there to say, okay, well, if you saw two people out of a million do something that is negative, it
mhm,
doesn't, you cannot just put that on like the whole population. So we will bring out the positive voice, the positive things that people do in the community, like immigrant doctors and immigrant, like things that
Mm.
will elevate the immigrant community, instead of saying like, oh, like during the campaign, like you said, who saw that? Nobody saw it with their own eyes that somebody killed their neighbor's cat or dog, but it's just something that took hold and they just kept
Resonate
running
with
with
them,
it.
yeah. They used it.
That's funny,
You have
Anyway, yeah, but you're
yeah.
right. But you're right, though. But you're right. I think though, right, one of the weight immigrants carry is that pressure, right? To always, oh God, you got to assimilate. Even sometimes when you speak, right? If your English is not proper enough, the first question you get is, "Where are you from?" Okay, you know what I mean, and things like that, right? So sometimes is that, I mean,
Right.
I think there's always that constant pressure, right, to kind of to fit in. But let me come to the aspect of it, right? I know a lot of folks naturalize, even though Trump is telling us not to be naturalized. If you do some shit that the way Elon Musk is doing, you might
No,
get
come
deported
on.
for wherever for wherever we from. But when you were getting that, when you were getting, when during your naturalization, when you were, when you were being sworn in, getting your American citizenship, how did that moment look like to you, reflecting on that status?
It was it was a good feeling, honestly.
Mm, mm,
Because it opens many paths,
mm,
many doors to many other
mm,
opportunities.
mm,
Um, I was one of the ones, who was reluctant about it, to be honest.
mm, mm,
But I just every time like you're not gonna get citizenship. You never know what these people will be on, And one time I just reluctantly went there, but I'm grateful that I went there and acquired that status because there are different doors, that open that we don't know when we're on the other side. There are really different doors, especially when you're in this country and you're trying to push yourself. There are some lines that really get dropped because of that
mm.
status. So,
Okay.
yeah, I was grateful. It was a good feeling, even though prior to that I wasn't, as pressed. But once I
Mm.
got there, that movement was surreal, and eventually, as I saw doors opening, more and more doors, I'm just truly grateful, honestly.
I mean, ever since that you gained that status, ever since that you elevated to that, I mean, to that level, have you looked at Independence Day, July 4th differently? Has it meant different thing to you? Have you appreciated, the Eagle book? I
American
mean, because have you appreciated it more? Or, I mean, it's like, how will you describe that?
that book, as you all know, that book is too powerful. Traveling
Mm,
with that book is just a different privilege.
mm,
Um,
mm,
Outside, especially outside of America, you can really experience what it carries, the weight that it carries. When you're
mm,
leaving and going to other countries, cool. They treat you differently because they have so much high regard for this place. And then when you're also coming back from outside, you're coming back in. when everybody can tolerate certain things, but America doesn't, they will scrutinize you. I think the
Mm.
only other country that behaves a little tough is the French, France. They behave really tough with their security and what have you, but they
Yeah.
still have high, very high regards for the book. They still have
Okay.
high regards for it. As far as how I've seen July 4th, my appreciation for the United States has just been the opportunities afforded to
Mm.
everybody, even with all of the injustices that go on, the different
Mm.
challenges that immigrants face,
Mm-hmm.
the deportation, how black men, there are countless of things that we could really talk about. But on
Mm-hmm.
the overall, we try to, again, make the best of wherever we are. We focus on the opportunities and how we can elevate ourselves and our families in the conditions that are presented to us. So,
Okay.
yes, I still do appreciate this place.
Yeah. Well, folks, tonight we are discussing freedom stories. What does America mean to you? What does America mean to you when you were back home, when you came here? And what does America mean to you today, 2025? Environment when we live in, there's so much going on. What does America mean to you? So you can contribute to the conversation 817-600-1525 or put a comment in the chat. But Peterson, though, what's the one moment, right? I'll come to mind once you go here, right? What's the one time you really appreciated America despite all of its flaws? What's the one moment you say, man, this country is something else. This country is so great. I really appreciate it. I'm glad I'm here. What's the one moment?
Yeah. For me, it's not like one single moment, but I
Mm-hmm.
think when it comes to like the politics of this country,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you really have to appreciate, like Tada said, despite everything that goes on, like those minute details of things, when you think of the politics here in America, like the first election that I wasn't part of, but that I witnessed when we came was Bush Gore,
Mm.
and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
at that moment, you're like, wow, like the day before election, everybody woo, ha, ha, ha. And then right afterwards, it's like everybody just line up behind whoever it is that
Yeah.
is in that have won the election. And it was like, wow, so this is like what they truly mean by democracy. And up to now, like all these like contentious elections that have been going
Mm-hmm.
on, that a day after the election, besides then somebody else saying, "Ah, it was stolen," all this and that. But those are not like the important things. But to say, okay, it doesn't matter who likes this person, who they don't like, what the policies are, as long as this person wins, that's the president of the republic, and that is one thing that is a testament of like the founding fathers and everything that
Mm-hmm.
although a lot of what they put into the into the constitution is under attack, but at
Mm-hmm.
the same time it's like for in order for this country to move forward up to this point, it just it's God, and then it's like wow, somebody put that into the minds of some few men to say, okay, this is what we dream and this is what we want. So is when you think about it, because coming from West Africa where politics is like, yeah, life or death, basically, it was kind of refreshing to see that. So that's one thing that I saw. I'm like, yeah, this is truly a great country. It's not perfect, like they always say. It's not perfect, but
Yeah.
is great.
It's not a perfect union. It's still trying to be perfected. That definitely, I think the one moment for me, even though he and I were on different side of the aisle, right? Politically we had differences and things like that on different side, on different side. 2008, the election of Barack Obama, right? It's like the whole world rejoiced, right? It's like I mean, something like a seismic shift, right? Or there's something like have really, really happened to the world, right? I mean, Barack Obama is from your city of Chicago there. The night, that he claimed victory, right? The Oprah Winfrey. I mean, all of the heavyweights in Hollywood, right? It's like that night is like, 2008. I always remember. I think it was November 4th that year. It's like, man, it's like despite all of his flaws, right? Despite everything, everyone had doubts. I was one of the ones that say, hey, at the time when you say I'm not supporting him, they say, wait, what? You black and you're not supporting him? I say, hey man, but I'm XYZ. Why do you want me to support someone just because he's like me? But it's like after, to your point, right? After all of that, you still like, I mean, the country rally around him. It was a historic election. I Even I myself could not believe that he could get to that point that he could actually break that ceiling, and he did. It was just a surreal moment. The whole world was celebrating. Okay, the whole world was celebrating. It's like they were showing certain parts of the world, right? Even where his grandma was in Kenya. It's like, dude, this is America. There's like, but the whole world, So it just means that, man, this country is on a whole different level. Titus, what's yours? You're on mute. You're on mute if you're talking.
The Obama thing is really one of them.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
it's really one of those ones. But I appreciate the comment from Peterson about the politics over here.
Mm-hmm.
They this society has matured so much, at least in that aspect where their politics, it might be dirty, but you're not seeing it as we see in other places,
Mm-hmm.
especially where we're from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's different. I mean, even on election day, people are going about their normal businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's not like a bunch of crowd all around the place stomping one
Yeah.
another and people
Mm-hmm.
getting hurt and stuff like that. It's really mature.
Okay. Okay.
Again, it goes back again to the opportunities that
Yeah.
America provides.
Yeah.
When people have things to do, when they have opportunities, employment opportunities, they're not just looking for politicians to come in their
Yeah.
region
Yeah.
so they can get a dollar or two of food, oil, and beans for that time being. They got work. They have opportunities, so
Mm-hmm.
they go out there and they execute their duties, you know, their civil duties, get back
Yeah.
to what they're doing.
Yeah.
I wish that for most of our African countries, honestly.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's great. Yeah. I mean, the politics is definitely different, But folks, tonight we are discussing freedom story, what America means to us, to you, when you were back home, when you came here, and what does America mean to you today? So that's a discussion. You can contribute 817-600-1525 or put a comment in the chat. But we are immigrants, we have always said on this platform. That's what I admire about Soccer podcast here, right? We amplify, empower, and elevate. But how can we, as immigrants, as a community, right, the immigrant community, no matter where you're from, how can we make sure America becomes an inclusive society for all of us, right? Instead of us just whining, complaining, right? Hey, did it, is this, is it? How can we make sure, especially when it comes to, it's like I've always said here, right? When it comes to civic engagement, I mean, you guys are talking about the politics, and that's a segue I want to take here, right? It's like, how can we make sure that this society become inclusive for all of us, especially for the immigrant population? Peterson, I'll start with you. We'll soon be wrapping up so you can get that little man home.
Yeah, by getting involved, like we always say here, if you sit on the sideline, you cannot sit on the sidelines and then you and then you say, oh, why are they doing this, or why are they making these decisions? Like the young guy that just won the primary, of course, is now like mayor here in New York.
Hmm.
That is something like only in America people will criticize him. They will talk about comes general election. If he wins, he'll be the mayor of New York. It
New York.
doesn't matter if it's by one vote or two
Yeah.
votes. He will be
Yeah.
the mayor of New York. And so people always say, "Oh, why these politicians are doing this or doing that?" We can get more engaged by getting off the sidelines and getting involved. You can, like Ms. B is always pushing people or encouraging, like volunteer, do something if there's something that you have passion for. If you want to see change in your kid's school, run for a school board. Don't just
Hmm.
sit and say, "Oh, why they making all these different curricula for the kids and things like that." So we need to get up and get involved. That's the only way that we'll be able to impact our voice.
Yeah. The person Peterson is talking about is Zoran Kwame Madani. He's a Ugandan immigrant, even though he's of Indian. His parents are from India, but the man was born in Uganda. He just won the New York City mayor primary. He's a Democrat. He calls himself a socialist Democrat. The man say there's no need to be billionaires. We'll see. We'll see what happens to that. But to your point, though, Peterson, right? That is something we should be celebrating as a community, right? No matter your political differences with him, no matter whether you agree with him, no matter whether you agree with his politics or his policy, the immigrant community should be celebrating him, amplifying his voice, and making sure that we rally behind him. You might disagree with him, but those are some of the things we are not doing. And so it's like other folks are telling our story. I think no matter whether you are for or against Zora Madani, right? He should be amplified. The man's a Ugandan immigrant. He comes here. Let's say that he's if he's capped, if he becomes the mayor of New York City, he's going to be the first Muslim to be a mayor, or even the first immigrant even to be a mayor of the largest city in the country. I mean, let that sink in, right? The largest city in the country. So I think we need to do more, Peterson. I definitely do agree with you. We need to do more, to not just sit on the sideline and criticize. We need to get involved. We need to support our people. We need to amplify them, empower them, and things like that. Titus, beside what Peterson said, what else can we do to make sure that America becomes an inclusive society for all of us, especially, I mean, immigrants?
We had a segment one time where we invited Sissy Goya, and
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
believe he's the director of math and science.
Yeah,
He's a
at
Liberian,
Minneapolis Public School. Yeah.
you know.
Mm-hmm,
Yep, Minneapolis Public School.
mm-hmm,
And when we talk about these things, I kind of reflect on one of the questions that I asked him about. When he talked about Pythagoras theorem
mm-hmm,
and how he tried to break it down to his students to make them understand that ain't no Pythagoras theorem. That's
mm-hmm,
African mathematics, that was camouflaged by the Europeans. Again, I mean, as usual, I don't want to get too much into it, but
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
his point was that he was uh, bringing the understanding of the African
mm-hmm,
and knowledge and also supremacy, if you want to term it that way, to other kids, other students who are from different backgrounds, making them to know that this is the root of what you know, what you think
yeah.
you know, and what you're learning.
Mm-hmm,
So that diversity has to be within the classroom, and I
mm-hmm,
think the school has a lot of role, a major role to play in this,
mm-hmm,
where because the kids are spending a lot of the time in school away from us,
mm-hmm,
and the little time that we have, yes, we have a role as well, primary role, but the school has such a major role because these kids are in there. Now, how can we support the school to ensure that there's diversity there, that our culture is pushed there? That's when we get involved with these different meetings, these
mm-hmm.
board meetings, these parent teachers association meetings.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have to be involved if there are
Okay.
changes that we're going to effectuate into the school system to
Okay.
to make certain that our culture, there's a representation of our culture in the school system. We have to be involved. Point,
Okay. Okay.
point blank period.
Okay.
Because a lot of changes will emanate from inside of the school system, and then also as Pete said, the local politics as well.
Okay. Well, that's great, folks. This is a 1 hour show. It's been a great discussion, guys. This is July 4th week. That's a segment. We're going to stay on the team all week. So, really appreciate you guys for your contribution tonight. Freedom story. What does America mean to us? And all of us here kind of ready, lay out there, right? But as we wrap up here, man, the American dream, the freedom, all of that as we wrap up tonight. What does it mean to you, Peterson, as you're about to celebrate July 4th? What's the message you want to leave with folks out there, right? The freedom, the American dream. What does it, if you pack all of that together, what does it mean to you? What's the message you want to leave with the audience tonight?
Yeah, so for me, it's like what Tata said earlier. We have all these different challenges, and like I said a few minutes ago, this republic and the idea of it is not perfect, and but if you are celebrating, make sure you celebrate safely and you keep your family safe and things like that. But despite everything that goes on, this is still a country of opportunities.
Mm.
So if you do get the chance to come here, you should take that opportunity and use it to the best of your ability in
Mhm.
uh, not only advancing yourself, but
Mhm.
your family
Mhm.
and your community and so
Mhm.
forth. But yeah, everybody can celebrate in their own ways, but just make sure that you are safe when you do celebrate.
Okay, thank you. Titus, as we wrap up here, your freedom, the American dream, out of that, to unpack that tonight, what's the message you want to leave with the audience as we
Thank you,
celebrate
Eb.
July
So
4th? Yeah. Mhm.
yep. Yeah, I appreciate the conversation tonight, and I think we touched on a lot of major factors
Mhm.
um in relations to the American dream, the security, for yourself and your family.
Yeah.
As we know, again, we come from other places where security is rare.
Mhm.
Access to education, it's high level of and high quality
Mm.
of education that could be attained here, and this is not just limited to college. It's
Mm.
trades. It's a lot of different form of education out here. It's society being exposed. I tell people that this country, if you want to do good, this country forces you to become responsible. If you want to thrive, if you want to prosper, because you're going to do the things that are required to
Mm.
prosper, and you'll
Mhm.
be disciplined by force,
Mhm.
by fire, by force,
Mhm.
because that's where you want to be in life.
Okay.
Owning a home, getting
Mhm.
into businesses, all
Mhm.
these things are they I think they do make up a part of the American dream. There are folks in
Mhm.
Liberia who in Liberia or other parts of Africa who have never dream about
Mhm.
someday becoming investors, or just never have the opportunity. The environment does not provide the
Mhm.
opportunity for folks to meet their maximum potential, and they come here, they're doing exceedingly well. So we hail this place for all of those different things, even though we're able to bring and present to you the contrast of those same factors as well. So
Well,
I appreciate it, man.
gentlemen, it's been a great discussion, man. Freedom stories, what America means to us. It's been a great discussion. It's July 4th week. I hope we all can celebrate. Tomorrow, we're going to be back here. Business and freedom. Immigrants driving the economy. I said the whole week we're going to be on that team, right? It's July 4th. That's all do you have Inner Cycle podcast, right? We're going to amplify, empower, and
That's beautiful.
elevate the immigrant voice. This whole week, or July 4th, as a business person, and things like that. But gentlemen, it's
Wonderful.
been a great conversation. This country, I definitely agree with you guys with all its flaws. I have said it many times. I still believe in the promise of America. I don't think they're going to deport Elon Musk. I don't think they're going to deport any of us as naturalized Americans. You know what I mean? And things like that. So we should not give up. And the thing we should do though, right? If we disagree with anything, I encourage all of you, you know, to those of our fellow immigrants in Virginia and in New Jersey. There are two critical elections in those two states this year. If you're in New York as well, right, go and participate, right, in that mayoral election. And then next year there's a midterm election. So to Peterson's point, civically engage, register and vote. That's one of the reasons why when you gain our citizenship, right, you not just gain our citizenship without blue book, right? You gain our citizenship also to participate. And we have a lot of great folks who want to get involved. It's like they want to hold elected office, but our people, we are not supporting them. And $1 second put can support somebody, right? Not only go and vote for them, but supporting them, with some cash too as well. So, gentlemen, it's been a good conversation. This whole week we're going to stay on the team of July 4th. So thank you guys so much. And we hope to see our audience back here tomorrow. Thanks for the support, guys. Good night.
All right,
Bye,
guys.
guys. Have a good one. I guess happy pre-4th.
In a circle.